Sphere13 and welcome to another episode of World of Tanks. Now, this is a replay that was sent in by General. Now, the main reason I'm sharing this now and not shortly after he sent it is because I don't really check my email as often as I probably should. And he's here in his IS-6, and I'm gonna end up calling him General, because that's his in-game name followed by a long string of numbers, which I am too lazy to actually say. I apologize if you feel like I'm being rude. But anyway, he's using a feature of the game that I don't normally use, and that is the in-game platoon acceptance and invite. Basically, as you saw him at the very beginning, I think he either sent it to the OHO or the OHO sent it to him. But he got sent the invite, or sent it himself. The receiving person accepted, and now him and the OHO are in a platoon. Which I don't normally use because I am very much a loner and I'm not very talkative when I actually play my games, especially if it's with people I don't know. But it does have quite a lot of advantages. First off, if you manage to have an amazing game and the other person happens to have an amazing game, there's possibilities for crucial contribution, brothers in arms medals, all sorts of good platoon only medals. And I will say they do get quite close. But a thing that I'm not really fond of is the fact that you kind of have to use the in-game voice servers to do that. And unless you've got the sound set up correctly, you're going to be sounding quite scratchy. And it's going to be so disorientating that all you can really do is laugh at it. And it's not exactly the best system that World of Tanks has for in-game voice chats, but in-game communications, they're probably relying on the whole quick button kind of setup for what they want to do. And General finally gets his first kill in this game, and it's not looking all that well. They're down by 2 tanks, and the map's not looking the greatest. I'm actually surprised he didn't try to send a platoon invite to that super pushing next to him to try and tell him, hey, I'm here, hey, I'm about to pop out, and all that good stuff. But there is a second kill. But they are still down by 2 tanks. It just looks as though for every single kill that his team gets, they'll lose one. And that's not a sustainable thing for any team to do. So eventually something has to change if you want to win. And seeing as this is a tier 8 game, there's probably going to be quite a few people in other premium tanks that like that super pushing that don't really know what they're doing. And it's quite a hard thing to deal with. New players deciding, I do not want to play at tier 1. I want to get those big tanks. I want to be in those really, really big high tier tanks. So they go out, buy a premium, which I don't think General's done this by what I've seen him, how he's played. He's tried side scraping, even though he didn't get shot at. And he's doing quite well. But players like that, Super Pershing, the Lurve, I'm actually not sure about the Lurve, but I'm pretty sure that Super Pershing that was right next to him, because of how he was going out at that angle, and that Super Pershing, unless for some odd reason that was a weak point, are newer players who bought that tier 8 premium tank because they did not want to grind through 2 tier 8. Now, by all means, that if you have no patience, you've played tier 1, and no matter what happens, your entire team gets crushed, and you have to go around and basically mop up the whole enemy team. By all means, go get a higher end tank. Maybe like a tier 6 or something. Tier 7 maybe. Tier 8s are really for the players who, especially with premiums, who need that credit or who need the crew experience. They don't necessarily need to play at tier 8 to do it, but the possibility of the tier 10 gameplay really does help. And there's his first point of damage. And with only 2 shots being fired at him, I'm actually quite confident to say that he's been playing for quite some time. Now, my mistake when I came to premiums was I bought a tier 6 SU-100Y. I was like, yeah, premium tank, I won't lose money on this, ever. And every chance I got, I fired around. It wasn't a premium round, but I fired around, and I kept losing money. What in the world is this? Who in the world in their right mind would buy this? I only had a tier 5 at that time. So, confused, PO'd, I did not touch that thing for the longest time. And once I started playing at tier 7 with the Tiger P, I went, okay, I'm running low on credit. Well, I need something that will make me quite a lot of credits. Maybe I get the super pushing. Because, yeah, it says medium, but it looks heavy. The gun probably won't be the greatest, but I'm not playing it for the gun. I'm playing it for the credits I get. So I got the tank, and it's one of my biggest credit earners. And eventually I started, when I went to the VK4502A, that crap medium. It says heavy, but it's a medium. And I needed credits, and I also needed to train that crew, because it sucked to have a crew that when you transferred over was 100% and 50% through their first perk or skill, whatever you want to call it. But when I changed them over, only had like 80%, and at tier 8, 80% crew is not a good thing. So I needed something to train German heavy tank crew. So I went, okay, you know what? I need the Löwe. I just need the Löwe. I need this tank so that way I can be somewhat competitive in tier 8, because that and that right there is a massively good shot. But they're down 2 tanks still. For every tank they get, they lose another. And that shot, don't know why it went that far off, but that's just kind of how the dice roll. But when it came in terms of how I've treated my premiums, I don't see them as, aha, I click on this and I win. No, I don't even do that on my E25. I do it for the credit making. Because past tier 8, you really don't make credits. You're having to play tier 6, tier 5s. Unless you are a massively good player, which I'm not. To fund tier 8s. Sometimes. Tier 9s most of the time. And tier 10s all the time. Very rarely have I ever seen a replay where the tier 10s make any profit. And now that I'm done with my little rant, I'll get back to the actual replay that General's having here. And it is just him and this Ferdinand. And he's in a position I'd rather not be in. The Ferdinand stopped, meaning he's aiming, and missed him. Okay, that was close. Come on, you've got this, and it bounced. Well, right now what he's trying to do is back up far enough to make sure that he won't get spotted. Well, he gets unspotted, basically. And he's trying to lead the Ferdinand away. But he's got this sneaky plan of his. He's going to try and go around the Ferdinand, and he's within 50 meters. That is not good. That is not good at all. The Ferdinand knows exactly where you are, and you can't get around the building before he can turn that direction and start chasing after you. And even if you do, he's most likely going to be able to spot you on the way back. So he's kind of SOL, because you can't back up, because that would give the Ferdinand cover, and he would lose it. And he's trying to look for weak spots, but that Russian accuracy, and ooh, that was lucky for him. It wasn't quite as lucky, though, because his shell bounced off, and the Ferdinand's coming for him. I do believe the ISX has a faster reload time than the Ferdinand, but it's still not something you want to play around with. It looks like the Ferdinand is only backing up slightly to essentially give himself a little bit more time, and oh, there's the artillery. Because artillery is there to keep people from camping from the front. And that was such a great game. And it was a Top Gun, and I do believe that is a Pools medal. First class, but it's a defeat. Thank you, artillery, for being in existence. But anyway, this has been the Desphere13. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have a replay of your own, send it to the email down in the description. And I guess I'll catch you next time. Desphere13, signing out. Bye.